You are coping and seething. You just can't accept what you're seeing. Yes, you're coping and seething. The truth it is scalding, and now you are molding and coping so hard. Coping and seething.
And I want to say this to the
YouTube
audience. I made my mistakes. But in all of my years of
grifting,
I have never profited from
racism.
I've earned every cent. And in all of my years of
racism,
I have never obstructed
spear chuckers.
And I think, too, that I can say that in my years of
racism,
that I welcome this kind of examination, because people have got to know whether or not they're
grifter, racist.
Well, I'm not a
spear chucker.
He's a smee. He's a smee. He's a smee. He's a smee. Hey.
Damn you! Sutek gets filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Damn you, Sutek!
This show ain't no good.
Power of one, the power of two, the power of...
Down to Papa Roach, bleed 182!
The power of one, the power of two, the power of...
He's gonna make a great stepdad for Jake.
This is a Journo Rat Felting emergency appeal. Every day, video game journalists like Alyssa Mercante are suffering from a mind virus called YouTuber derangement syndrome. The symptoms include intense narcissism, smugness, bizarrely inflated sense of self-importance, and above all else, an obsession with how much money YouTubers make. Particularly when they make that money covering journalists with this affliction. A little money can make all the difference to curing this terrible affliction, so please, donate anything you can, $2, $5, channel memberships, a $50 super sticker, to your nearest YouTuber. And help the spying, snitching, journo trash learn once and for all that they are irrelevant maniacs who you wouldn't piss on if they were on fire. Thank you.
It's astounding. This mortal really is something else. Look at that brilliant form. There can be no doubt. This is the true power, complete in all its majesty. This is Autonomous Ultra Incel.
Mortality. They lost the plot, we'll take a stand. These corporations must perish when we claim our land. Enough is enough, we've drawn the line. We'll take back our stories, a spark divine. The will of the fans, a storm on the rise. We won't be silenced by the hollow lies. We claim the legacy, break the chains. These companies must die for our world to remain. They can't take our passion, we're holding the gates for every fan stands protecting
Yeah, baby. That's right. We're here. I've lost my bar, but oh well, everything is falling apart all at the same time. It's very, very confusing, but oh well, I suppose that is what it is. But hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everything and nothing, and all the hypotheticals out there in the universe can get wrecked instead of actually being a part of this. Yo. It, of course, is WTF Live. It's Tuesday. It's been a bit up in the air. Sorry about that. We were going to move it to tomorrow. I'll explain in a few minutes why. But we didn't. We're here. We are straight. Get used to it. And we're going to talk about a lot of things from Doctor Who to Disney, all collapsing under the weight of their own woke hubris. And, of course, we have other strange goings-on from denizens of the internet, certain weird creatures that tell weird stories and get wrecked in the comment sections, a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of Elder Scrolls, and scene. I think, oh no, there's some Mercante in there too. There's a sizable dollop of
There's
Mercante.
always some Mercante in there.
I mean, it's just an unfortunate, nature of the beast kind of thing at this point, that this pain in the ass woman is going to appear in our shows from time to time, even as we try not to actually engage. It becomes inevitable occasionally when things are going on.
It's almost like you have to do a certain amount just as like a precautionary, because if you go and try to take time away from it, then all of a sudden, some giant fiasco happens, and then it's just like it demands all your fucking attention for the weekend.
So it's like a lot of us have got to the point now where we're so very, very sick and tired of that name that we'd rather just not make videos about it at all. But at the same time, kind of an absolutely insane person who constantly creates and generates the most rich, deep bullshit trails that you could possibly find on the internet. So you'd be stupid not to cover it. And also, especially when there are precedents being set or trying to be set that would fuck everything that we do and everything we ever could do. So you have to pick and choose. Basically, don't feed the beast, feed the storm. And there's that. But we've got lots to talk about, guys. Tons and tons and tons, in fact. So we're going to go ahead and try to get through that as soon as we can before, in a couple of hours' time, we have an announcement from Bethesda, apparently, which will be coming up. So I'm going to jump into that first before we get into Doctor Who. But before all that, of course, guys, please do make sure that you like the stream. It is very important.
Like the stream.
Share the stream.
I almost always forget you're going to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know why. It's been months now. Anyway, like the stream. It's very helpful to us, and of course, gets it out there for more people to see, which means more people come and join you, and more people for you to chat with, which is a lovely, lovely thing. My computer is quietly having a heart attack right now. I don't know what's going on, but all my browsers are trying to commit harakiri. That's how you pronounce it. At the same time, so if I disappear for a moment, I will be back. Guarantee that. And between that and everything else that's been going on, the usual stuff and extra stuff, and my internet getting cut off yesterday for several hours, it's been a fraught couple of days at Casa de Will. And that's why I'm getting increasingly frustrated as we've been going through the week. But you are watching Will of the Fans. My name is Will. See what I did there? And it's time to introduce the guests. Of course, not guests, co-hosts Ryan Rogerate and Problematic White Guy. Let's start with you, Ryan, before I get any more rattled.
Okay, well, folks, Dramatic Allure is the very best, and I approve of this message. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. It's great to see you all watching today. Yes, I am rather tired. I have been very busy this April. April was what March was supposed to be, so it's not the March through March, it's the March through April, and it's kicking my ass. But it's been very, very rewarding, but I realize that I may need to relax my own schedule when I can't even pronounce the name of my own show, as my camera followed me.
Yeah, that was great. That camera's been a priceless purchase.
I know.
Q1 this year has been fraught, and it's taken a toll on many of us. But yeah,
it's great to be here. Hopefully, we'll talk about quite a few things, and fingers crossed, Will can stay here. Otherwise, John's gonna have to take the lead.
Oh God, no one wants that.
Well, I can think of a couple of chicks maybe in Japan who might, but
perhaps one of them was actually speaking to me last night. Evidently, her music has to be problematic approved. So,
all right,
you know,
it's interesting to know.
Yeah,
How you doing?
Oh, awesome as always. I see dramatic Lord, or actually it was Lord Janil is asking me a question. He says, in the end, will you make an avatar or not anymore? I'm multifaceted, so you know, Will likes the Chad Chin. He wants like this live guy here. So I will be live on Will the Fans.
On camera.
Yeah.
Just because we can bounce off the non-verbals, you know.
Right. So yeah, no, depending on the show, you'll get a different version. But I'm going to try to avoid being, you know, this as much as possible. So
yeah, that one was the worst. Yeah, it was better when you were just on a loop.
Yeah, I know. I like the loop too, but when I was completely out of a camera source for 2-3 weeks, it was all I could really even do, just to even, you know, be online. But yeah, no, things are good. I think out of all three of us, I probably have like the least difficult situation right now. I'm just searching for more time because people are demanding my services and, you know, offering to pay me. So, you know, I can't complain. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Well, gotta work it while I got it. You know, I'm in my mid-40s, so. But with that said, let's fucking go. Let's do this thing, and yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the mods, of course. And guys, if you got anything you want to say, or you just want to have an argument with us, or felt us in some way, we do take bribes. So super chat, we'll gladly address you. Join the Grift Force if you want those emojis, and of course, access to the inner circle of a new project we'll be starting where we'll be making a game. I swear to God, everything's been crazy lately, but hopefully tomorrow, unless I'm in hospital, I will finish Suikoden 2. And by the end of the week, we will have our first stream to talk about this game project.
Yeah,
some of you already heard some of the music I wrote with as like a just a proof of concept kind of thing, with some AI. So that's already underway and it's pretty good. We'll get into all of that. So do help fill this bar. It means a lot. I may end up with massive hospital bills this week, but we'll find out. First of all, we got some supers already. James Up, absolute stone cold legend here for $10. Just boom, just comes in, drops it. Love it.
Drop it.
Lovely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm also supposed to tell Dramatica Lore that she's the best. So there you go.
Okay, cool. I didn't see if I was required to do that as well, but Dramatica Lore, you're the best. There you go.
Indeed.
So why not? Who cares? No one else cares about being the best, so that's fine. James Up though for 10. Thank you. Says hope your pops is feeling better. Yeah, okay, guys. So in the early hours of last night, my father fell. In the dark, you know, 80-plus-year-old man hurt his hip. As many of you will probably no doubt immediately realize that made me white with terror, and certain complications can arise. So I've had to keep an eye on him. That's why I couldn't do hyperdrive time this morning, because I was still up looking after him. So as yet, he seems to be able to move his leg, which is better than I thought he was a couple hours ago. So we're hoping he recovers and it isn't that severe, but obviously I'm pretty much ready at any moment to call an ambulance. So, but yeah, I thank you. Of course, thank you very much for the well wishing. He's watching, so I'm sure he'll be heartened by that as well. It's a bit of an iffy situation, and it is messing my mind up a little bit, but we'll do our best to get through everything, and I do appreciate the support very much. Dramatica Law as well. His dad of the fans okay. I hope he gets better. Yeah, same answer. Just that's the situation. Hopefully he's okay. Hopefully, I don't have to bankrupt myself trying to take an uninsured man into a hospital for surgery. And, all will be well, and we'll continue on from here. But for the time being, I just really appreciate the support, guys. It means a lot to me. It really does. So thank you very much. Okay, let's get past that and actually get to the topics of the day, because we have a lot of them to get through. First of all, then, let's just address the fact that in less than 2 hours from now, Bethesda has finally promised that there will be an actual announcement, a trailer of sorts, something along these lines. A reveal is coming on the 22nd, which is what it is now, right? Yeah. So 11 a.m., that would be in Eastern time. So in about an hour and 40 minutes time, there should be some kind of live stream happening from Bethesda, and it will be giving you the freaking details about Schrodinger's Elder Scrolls, because this has been the stupidest story. I didn't even bother covering it for the first week and a half. It just seemed like it was back and forth, yo-yoing around there's going to be an Elder Scrolls remake. Oh, it's not a remake, it's a remaster. Oh, it's not a remaster, it's a remake. But is it coming out tomorrow? No. Okay, is it coming out tomorrow? No. Okay, is it coming out tomorrow? And it went on like that for the better part of 2 weeks at this point. So I just avoided it like the plague, because I just thought this is totally stupid. But now finally we do have Bethesda actually announcing something, and they say that it is real and the reveal is coming tomorrow, which for us again is an hour and a half away. It's finally happened. Bethesda Game Studios has confirmed that Oblivion Remastered is real and that it's being revealed in full tomorrow. The breaking news came by way of a post on social media dropped by Bethesda some time ago now. This is the first official confirmation we've had that the game even exists. The team dropped an image on social media emblazoned with 4IV, indicating that all will be revealed at 11 a.m. Eastern. There's a snapshot of it, and here we go. Guys, are you interested in Elder Scrolls 4 remake or remaster?
I'll just say this has been a very interesting topic for me personally, because I personally think Bethesda don't want this to succeed, and that's why they've handled it this way.
It's the Unreal Engine thing you said, I think.
Yes. I've made this statement on SNH, but I might as well repeat it here. Bethesda, like some other legacy companies, Ubisoft, EA, to name but a few, do not like using systems outside of their own creative control.
Yeah.
And in this instance, with the remaster, considering it's 120 gigabytes to install, it might as well be a fucking remake.
Really? That's much bigger than the original.
Yes, and
almost
people
4K textures.
People have blamed the Unreal Engine 5 for that, although that's a bit debatable. But if this game succeeds, what's to stop Bethesda under Xbox's control mandating the Unreal Engine 5 for all future projects? I think that would be the last thing Bethesda would want, especially given their legacy is built on the Creation Engine and its predecessor, as well as its latest version, which was used for Starfield, which will most likely be used for Elder Scrolls 6, the Creation Engine 2. If this game does well, then Xbox could well mandate Bethesda to scrap the Creation Engine 2 and use the Unreal Engine 5 as well as its successors for future projects. And usually when remasters and remakes like this are done, it's to test the waters for the franchise.
Yeah. All right. So there's obviously pros and cons to each engine, I suppose. I mean, Bethesda's engines are not well known for running very well. I don't know how Starfield was for bugs and glitches. We kind of got all caught up in the pronoun side of things, thanks to Az. Did anyone see it? Did it run okay? Come.
Yeah, I played it on release using the Xbox One, so I used the xCloud, cloud gaming for it, and it ran perfectly. It ran perfectly fine. Starfield was the most stable Bethesda game to release in at least a few generations, because they specifically delayed the game. Xbox mandated a delay tell Bethesda that this has to be finished with no problem.
That's actually a good thing.
Yeah, I think I saw a few videos where it still did like the normal Bethesda things, like, you know, people standing in front of the person who's talking and all that kind of weird shit. You know, like
flying corpses. You know,
it's just people have to remember that before Starfield was released, Fallout 76 completely ruined the reputation of Bethesda Game Studios, like completely.
Yeah, completely. It was bad enough after what happened with some of their earlier games, but 76 was barely a game.
Yeah.
Starfield was a make or break for Bethesda Game Studios. Yes, its legacy is that of an average game, but in the first few months of release, boy, did that game light the world on fucking fire, especially financially, even though it was an average game with lots of little things wrong with it. So that really saved Bethesda's reputation. This, though, this remaster, the reason why we've had so little information is because of the fact that it's utilizing systems Bethesda don't want to use.
Yeah,
so
they want to keep making it with their own engine.
Exactly.
And since there doesn't seem to be a downside to the engine anymore, why would Microsoft mandate future Unreal Engine use?
Well, I think this game makes or breaks it, the fork in the road, as it were. And that's why Bethesda, who are clearly in charge of the marketing of this, because it is their game under Xbox, they're just like, shadow drop it. Let's not really publicize it.
And to your question, Will, they might mandate it only as a way to keep costs down. And so if this is not financially successful, then they can say, oh, well, cost reduction, we have to do it this way. And then it'll just be more homogenized like so many other things.
I saw the screenshots for this game, like comparing 2006 to 2025. The 2025 pictures look like Avowed, because Avowed was
it does look generic,
and it utilized the Unreal Engine 5. I think the greatest strength with Unreal Engine generally is that it is something that can be great for developers to make games on. But the main disadvantage of the Unreal Engine, all of its forms, not just the fifth one, is the fact that it can lead to more generic types of games. So it's a great foundation, but if you want to build like proper diverse projects, then it's not really that adaptable a system from that perspective. Look at the Frostbite engine as comparison. It was great for FIFA games for EA, but it wasn't so good for fucking Dragon Age Inquisition. Not every games engine can fit every genre of gaming.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, so I guess I'm not disinterested in it. It's not high on my priorities at the moment. Nothing really is, except getting my own streams done and the other stuff that we've already talked about. But I guess, it's something I'd be interested to see in action, maybe watch someone stream it. And if it looks like it's decent, maybe I would pick it up because I really love Oblivion. Yeah. And I kind of like, I feel like, I'm not going to rush out to buy it. I mean, if it were to be gifted to me or something like that does happen from time to time, then great. I would happily accept it. And I would probably then stream it a bit because it's Oblivion. Oblivion is great. Do we think it's going to do well?
I know my nephew was, he was all about it yesterday. He's just like, oh, I got my tax return. I'm going to as soon as I can pre-order, I'm like, all right, have at it, Haas. I don't.
How come you don't care?
Just, I played Oblivion 20 years ago. It's fine. It's all well and good, but I'm just,
I've honestly never played Oblivion, so I'm probably the target audience for this.
Yes, my nephew's 20 as well, so
you would have been 6 when it came out, right?
Yeah,
and of course, people have made the argument that this has been shadow dropped, likewise with the original Oblivion release. But we have to understand Bethesda doesn't really control its own destiny anymore because they got bought out. Though I personally believe, compare this to the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. BioWare was on its ass back then, and they needed something to breathe life back into them. And the Legendary Edition, which they pushed to the moon, did fantastically well with all the DLCs added on, everything. That then
wasn't it
breathed
censored?
you. There were slight
the asses and stuff.
Yeah, there were slight alterations put in place, but the game was a complete success, and it just goes to show that remasters or remakes can breathe new life into older franchises. But we have not seen anywhere near the level of commitment or marketing from Bethesda compared to BioWare, which leads me to believe, do Bethesda game studios in particular want this game to succeed? Because if it does succeed, we could see lots more Bethesda remasters. Fallout 3, New Vegas, potentially even as close as Fallout 4, if they really want to squeeze the fucking cash cow. Or Morrowind, or
Skyrim.
All of them at this point.
Yeah.
Skyrim, Skyrim, and
I don't know what more options they could possibly have for Skyrim at this point. It's already on everything. Like, it's on Alexa. You know, it's ridiculous. But there you go.
To me, this topic, this game, is a fork in the road. If it does well, then you're going to see more remasters and remakes coming from Bethesda Game Studios. And you'll see Elder Scrolls 6 and Unreal Engine 5. If this game does not do well, then you won't see many more remasters or remakes. And Elder Scrolls 6 will be made under the Creation Engine 2. That's to me what we're seeing, the fork in the road.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I'm just sort of wondering, because it does seem to have picked up this kind of groundswell of support from people. I was sort of ready to roll my eyes at it overall, but then I noticed that there are people in our group as well who are going like, "Yeah, I want to play that." And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Well, my first thought on this was Xbox need to make as many good games as possible for their Game Pass system, because that's make or break for them at the moment. If Game Pass fails, then all of Xbox and Microsoft gaming as a whole fails. So this, along with a few other games, Expedition 33, Doom Dark Ages, I'm sure there are a few other top-line games as well, just front-loading Game Pass to get more people in. That's what I thought initially.
Right.
Then I came to the conclusion I have now with the fork in the road, as I call it.
I think you're right, actually. I do. I think, it's kind of low-key, actually, more about the engine than anything else.
Yeah.
All right. That'll do then, guys. You've got an hour and a half till the announcement comes. You'll find out everything you need to know about it there. But for us,
surely right after us.
That's it. Exactly. Right as we end. So we're going to make sure we try and end on time today so that we can accommodate that. But in the meantime, before we move on, Furious Dan came in for $2, and thank you very much for that. Says, "Good morning, Will. Prayers to your pops. God bless." Thank you. And on behalf of him, thank you.
Yeah, safe travels, Dan. I see you're on your way to work now, and good morning to Toasty. Hope you're feeling better as well.
Good. Right. So Doctor Who then. And well, it's just come out in the last hour since I last refreshed the page. I just did it again, and we now have the +7 on all screens. 3.57 million for episode 1. Woo!
I smell a rat.
Yeah.
I honestly, I smell a rat personally with this.
Yeah, they basically doubled up their number off of streaming services and things.
The question is, what's the number in the middle gonna be? Because if it's gonna be like 2.5, then they'll try to twist the narrative that more people than ever are watching on streaming services. The only way Doctor Who will last into the future is streaming only. And then if that happens, we'll never get rid of this fucking monstrosity.
Yeah.
True.
They'll do a big subscribe to Disney Drive or iPlayer or what have you, depending on where you are in the world regionally. Yeah.
Screw that. So anyway, this isn't actually far removed from the pattern that we saw over the last. Oh, have I crashed?
I can hear you.
seem fine.
My picture's crashed. Great.
We can
Just
still
what I
see
need.
you. We can still see
Okay.
you moving around at least.
Okay, well for me it's crashed. That's great. Just what I need. Anyway,
This
this
show
is a
today.
fucking mess. Everything's falling apart in my life. Anyway, yeah, so we could see the it's not going to help me move or manipulate tabs, by the way, because that it's the browser that's crashed, so that's great. I'm probably going to have to exit and come back in again.
Okay.
But there we go. Anyway, yeah, so 3.57 million is not far removed from what we saw with previous seasons, and I was going to show you that, but now I'm going to have to kick myself out and come back in. So
All right, well, I guess we can talk about some stuff for a second. Let's see what's going on in the chat here.
What we can do, folks, is that we can look at the ratings briefly here and use the same mathematics, right? So 1.57 million added on. If we do that again for episode 2, hypothetically, that doubles its rating. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to go up by like 1 million to 2.5, maybe 3, if we're being generous for the +7, plus that other fucking bit, as it were. And to me, folks, what you're going to see here is coping and seething from the opposition, the damage control escalating, and this being used as an attempt to continue Disney Who via this. We must embrace streaming. We must embrace the digital. We must embrace the subscription model, Disney Plus for the world and iPlayer for the UK, and keep Disney Who going, and have War Between the Land and the Sea spin-off as a bridge between one season, so season 2, with, say, season 3, season 4, season 5. Because if they manage to keep it on streaming, then we're going to have a Rings of Power style situation. We're just going to get more and more and more and more until the contract just runs out. But thankfully, nothing's been renewed yet. And fingers crossed, the last piece of Disney Who will be the War Between the Land and the Sea.
I mean, that is what we want, right? Because
at this point,
we want the show to stop. We want the show to disappear because in its current state, it's a mockery of all that it once was, and it doesn't deserve to succeed, and it's not succeeding. Now, what I wanted to demonstrate was the fact that over the last few years, the amount that we see, and I'm going to have to do it on the website instead of on my own tab because I can't get it to fucking open, is that every single time one of these overnights comes in, the average amount that it actually increases by ends up being somewhere along the lines of 1.5 million more. It's never been more. It's like 1.6 to maybe 1.7 million they get over it, but it doesn't. Fucking hell, my entire browser is just collapsing. I do not know what is wrong with my fucking PC today. It is insane. I just restarted it as well. Oh well. Anyway, I'll have to just go ahead with it until I can get this tab open. Unless one of you guys can get the 2024 numbers up on.
Sure, I can do that. Yeah.
Cool. Until I can get it to fucking load. Share your screen.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see
Ryan
what
has taken the wheel.
Yeah, do it. This is just getting ridiculous now. I'm being let down by technology and everything else that could possibly go wrong, all at the same fucking time. There you go. Thank you. Zoom in a bit. If you
Did
can.
you like piss off a witch or something over the
Genuinely
past?
don't know. Genuinely don't know. But the general numbers, they tend to go up by like 1.4, 1.5. You can see with the first one, you went from 2.6 to 4.01. Then, of course, we had from episode 2, 2.4 to 3.91. So, yeah, 1.71, 1 point whatever million. It's always around about that number. And so this isn't actually like, we're not seeing a huge shift. It's not like any more people are
Right.
watching Doctor Who on streaming than were last year. So the numbers continue to go down. Based on this, then it would suggest that the 1.58 million that we saw for the 2025 numbers is ultimately going to turn out to be something like 3 million even.
Well, the vast majority of people, based on what we have available to us both in 2024 and in 2025, the vast majority of people who watch Disney Who watch it on television. Okay, they do not watch it on streaming. Minus the +7 TV. Shut up, you fucking pigeon! It's hard enough making my point. +7 TV only. If you minus that from +7 TV +4 screen, then you get the number of people who watch on streaming. So for episode 1 of season 1, it was 300,000. Now that may not sound like a lot, but comparing on Disney Plus, it didn't even break 80,000. 300,000 views. iPlayer is really up there, folks, compared to other streaming services. You just need a TV license for it, so to speak.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm just laughing at all the pigeon comments in the chat right now.
Sake, man.
I don't know what's going on here. You're going to have to give me a couple of minutes and I will be right back.
Right.
Well, that's perfectly fine. But let's compare, say, other things, ladies and gentlemen. So the specials in 2023, when Doctor Who became Disney Who, these were the ratings in question. And look, folks, especially in terms of all screens, if they could have kept it at around this figure, John, I think Disney Who would be considered in a thriving state.
Oh, sure.
I think, personally, the specials model would have worked far better than the idea of an 8-episode season. So, like 5 episodes a year, make them specials. And then you could be like half TV show, half movie, which I think Doctor Who could thrive in that environment.
Yeah. And that and getting away from shitty gay twat as the titular doctor.
David Tennant could have carried it, man. I know he's a lunatic now, but I was of the view, especially given the 50th anniversary special, that David Tennant could have easily stayed as the Doctor for another 3 to 5 years. He could have been the Doctor for a decade, from 2005 to 2015. Because when you see him in that 50th anniversary special, the only real difference is the hair, because they couldn't get his hair up because he had shorter hair back then, so they had to put it down. But this is a guy, and I'm sure if they'd done it a little better with the specials, they could have made him just like he was back in the 50th anniversary. That guy could have been the Doctor for at least a decade, maybe a little longer. They just didn't want Tom Baker syndrome to set in,
right? Where
a Doctor stays the Doctor for too long, and then after he goes, the show collapses. That sort of thing. But these views in 2023,
now my audio is getting all weird.
Oh dear. These views, even in 2023, are
see.
far better than what we saw in 2025, folks. It just goes to show that Shooty Booty Gatwa is a failure. He's a quintessential failure just on his own.
Ryan, I too will be right back because I can't hear you.
Well, that's
I can hear everything
fine.
else though. So
hopefully everyone can hear me, folks. As you see right here, right now, the reality-based takeover of Will of the Fans, ladies and gentlemen. But compare these views, man. 2 million, 1.58. In the span of 2 years, ladies and gentlemen, we have gone from 5 million with the specials in 2023 to 1.5 million views. Look, the first special, 5 million overnight views. To what is it now, folks? It's at 1.5. They've lost 3.5 overnight views in the span of 2 years. How you doing, Will? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm back. I'm here. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Fuck's sake, folks. I'm
Yes,
sorry
John
about all
had-
this.
No. John had to step out because he was having audio issues. But yeah, I was just explaining to the folks watching that in the span of 2 years, Disney Who has gone from 5 million overnight views to 1.5 million overnight views, losing close to 3.5 million views in 2 years.
That is astonishing, really, isn't it?
If that isn't a failure, I don't know what is.
Yeah. I mean, it's completely bust. It's broke. It's felted. It's fucked. You can't keep pushing it up a hill and expecting different results when it keeps rolling back down. You've destroyed it. You've poisoned it with all of this fucking political bullshit. And now people are at breaking point.
Will, I made the argument that although he's crazy now, I made the argument to John that although he's crazy now, David Tennant could have easily been the Doctor for like a decade. And if they had, dressed him up properly, made him up properly, he could have still looked like how he was back then in the specials. And a specials type format of 5 episodes a year, I think Doctor Who could thrive in that environment. And David Tennant could have carried that as an actor, maybe not as a person, but certainly as an actor. Okay,
Certainly
the trio's back.
Indeed.
Yeah, my screen is working. Well
It
done.
was funny because like I tested my audio, the audio test worked. I couldn't hear Ryan. And I was like, well, this isn't gonna work. And then as soon as I pop out, I'm like, oh, I can't get back in until Will gets back now. Hopefully he's there by
yeah. What a fucking mess, ladies and gentlemen. What a mess it is. But there we go.
Folks,
Ryan.
You know things are desperate when I'm the last man standing.
Yeah, something terribly. I had to restart my entire PC. Fortunately, it's like because I recently moved it to a new setup and rebuilt the whole thing. It does that in about 30 seconds, so that's not a big problem. All right, so I've got this chart which I made last year, and in it we can see lots of extra numbers and variables and values that I added in. For example, the actual increase every week of overnight. We can see 1.41, 1.51, 1.54, 1.44. The low point was 1.26. So averaging roughly 1.5 million, 1.45 million is usually what they get with a new episode. And then 7 days later. Now, with this one, you've got a slight uptick. You've gone from 2 million to now, what's the number? 3.57 million. So we just add that. I can put it in here. There we go. And there you go. It literally gained 79% of its audience again on top. So that's how much more we got. But it still doesn't really matter because it's still some of the most pathetic numbers that have ever actually existed in the history of Doctor Who. You are still far, far, far away from anything like what we used to see in the glory days of modern Who, or even in old classic Who. It's literally just an absolute shambles by comparison. So it's not looking good. Even if the best you can muster is 3.57 million, the situation has not improved. It is steadily still getting worse.
Yeah, and I think it will get worse as time goes on. It might just go under 7 figures, and if it does, then that means in the span of 2 years, Disney Who has gone from 5 million overnight views with the first special to under 1 million. That would be a 4 million view drop in 2 years, man.
Yep.
Be like an 80% drop in just its own cycle here within the Disney environment. That's not good.
No, that is not at all good. I'm trying just now to open an old spreadsheet that I have, which I haven't used for a long time, but which I can get open here, and we can see the old sort of numbers. We're going right back to literally the The numbers that we were seeing from modern Doctor Who. So this is only modern Doctor Who, but you can see each series is here. We've got an average 7.95, 7.87, 7.68, 8.42 was series 4, including Voyage of the Damned. These numbers go up and up and up. The specials was averaging 11.50 million by the time Tennant regenerated. Then through the Smith era, 7, 7.8, 7.4, 7.8. Then 12 for his special, 7, 7, 7, 7, gradually deteriorating. Now we're at Jodie Whittaker's era, from 7 down to 5, down to 4. Then there's one special that got 7. Then we can see the average of the first Ncuti Gatwa series was 3.71. So if you actually compare this number here to that, same kind of ballpark, absolute trash. There's no saving it. Even the Radio Times has had to acknowledge that this is the lowest in the series' history. They kind of did not do that last year. They were avoiding mentioning it like the plague. Now there is no doing that because it's below 2 million. Now, the overnights remain the most important number to Doctor Who. Doctor Who doesn't operate like other shows. If it did move to streaming, it would be the end of the show in a couple of years. Then maybe they'll keep pumping it out, like you say, Ryan. I think eventually they'll run out of ways to do it. They won't be able to budget it. It's worth remembering.
I only say that, Will.
Cheers, Levi.
When you referenced, how little views actually are on streaming services, considering iPlayer as a source, and I'm sure Disney Plus internationally, if iPlayer can get a couple of 100,000 people to watch this show, even over a weekly basis, by streaming figures, that's fantastic. Now, I know iPlayer operates differently than, say, Disney Plus or other streaming services, but it's where the viewership is in digital mainstream media.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with what Will is saying, last week I said it was basically the epitome of being creatively bankrupt, and they've already lifted a name from a previous episode, broken the fourth wall. This episode that's coming up this weekend looks to be just a retread of things they've done before. So, there's no reason for it to move forward. They have nothing left of any substantial, worth to say. It's operating under the idea of, brand familiarity and people like the license. But do they at this point in time?
I just checked, folks. Now, I know the license fee, you have to pay for it in the UK. It's a sort of requirement. But I just checked. If it was a streaming service, right, that was volunteer-based, then it currently costs £174.50 a year currently. Divide that by 12. Divide that by 12. It's £14.54. Now, I don't know what that is in dollars exactly, but that's about how much Game Pass is in the UK. So if it was used as a streaming service model that you could pay into, I think that would be considered competitive.
The license fee?
Yes. In terms
problem
of
is they wouldn't be able to force the entire population to pay it.
Right.
Exactly.
But that one thing is the difference maker because you're forced to pay it.
And I think what the BBC should do is get rid of the license fee in terms of its mandatory use, but utilize it as a streaming model internationally because they've got the franchises to back it up, man.
Well, what do they have now, the BBC? Because
all the BBC shows, all the ITV, they tried this with BritBox and it just flopped. But they have all the BBC shows, they have all the ITV shows, they have, of course,
they have ITV as well.
Yes,
is that part of it?
It's part of it in terms of ITV, although it stands for independent television. The BBC has a good stake in it. They have a good stake in Channel 4. They have a good stake in Channel 5 because the BBC sponsored their existence.
Aren't they? Because it wouldn't be a monopoly, yeah. But they're advertising based, aren't they?
Yes.
They used to be.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, there's a strange situation going on there. Sounds like something shady. But, I mean, on the BBC at this point, alone, Doctor Who is felted. Top Gear does not exist. And what else do they have? Because this episode was beaten by the news.
Oh, jeez.
In ratings. It was beaten by all the other shows that were on BBC One that evening.
They have the news. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I mean, it's absurd. They couldn't get literally they couldn't beat the fucking news. They couldn't beat the news in on what was the date of the episode's broadcast? The 19th?
19th. Yeah.
Right. So what the hell else was on the 19th of April? Blankety Blank, which is a remake of an old 1970s game show. Probably not very expensive to make.
No.
They had the news, which of course, I mean, that's just people in a set. Once you've built the set and you've got the cameras, you don't need to spend any more money on that shit, apart from electricity and employees.
Right.
You know, it's not like you're making special effects or anything or changing graphics every week.
Well, even
Doctor Who
even
is
the
a
camera
huge
work,
budget. Go on.
Even the camera work over at BBC News is automated now. They do it with automated systems. They don't even have cameramen there. It's just the reason that I argue for the license fee to become a streaming service like monthly model is that it's the only way it's going to survive, because the license fee is causing a backlash that is unsalvageable at this point. And if it was packaged in a different way as something that wasn't mandatory with a competitive price, it costs the same as Game Pass Ultimate a month. It is a competitive price. Hopefully they don't fucking raise it because it's like an addiction. If you've always had it, then you're not going to want to, give that.
Well, I got bad news for you, Ryan. All subscription services prices go up. If not yearly, every 2 to 3 years.
Pretty much. This is why so many people get VPNs and make accounts in other countries. Because you can. So obviously 1.58 million is pathetic. They tried to cope. I'm not going to go into the article, but they tried to cope and say that it was still a very well-liked episode of Doctor Who. They also wrote a copy article about how RTD had trolled the fans. And I'm like, no.
They revealed that the modern
they revealed
audience
how much
is
the
fictional.
trolling of the fans has bothered them. That's what they did. That's not the same thing. In fact, it's the opposite. But yeah, so Doctor Who was on at 7:15 on Sunday, or Saturday rather, and it was beaten by Blankety Blank, Casualty, and the News. There you go. All shows that have considerably less budgets than lower budgets, I should say, than Doctor Who. The problem is it's not sustainable. If Disney's out, which they are, whether they can move it to entirely streaming or not, they still don't have the budget to produce it as it is. It would have to go back to looking like it did in 2005.
Yep. And they really can't rely on Sony.
Like
Maybe they would. There's a lot of people out there who think it looks too good now to be Doctor Who. They prefer it when it was straw and string and staples and bottles of fairy liquid as robots and stuff like that. I kind of see the merit in that as well. The appeal, it's retro, it's cool. They won't see that.
No,
they will never see that side of it. They won't. They'll be permanently humiliated by it. To have had a show that actually worsens in quality, as it goes on, I think they would rather let it die or just shelve it for however long until they get desperate enough.
I mean, this last episode, those effects they did, they were okay, but you can't be doing that week to week, because
when they had the CGI version of Mr. Ring-a-Ding, that looked good.
Yeah, but that was what, 20, 30 seconds?
Though, half of that episode was on a stage, and the other half of it was fucking animated or on a green screen.
Or in a living room.
But when you are talking about the animation part of it, the animation part of it, though, with, Belinda Chandra and, by Generation Boy over there, right? That whole animated sequence they did from going from animated to being people was dog shit. And that's me being polite, like it was not good.
And it was also, John, completely done on a green screen, like a standard green screen floor and back.
Right. But I'm just talking about the animation effects themselves, the 2D and the 3D, especially the 3D animation that they did in there of, having more depth. That was the worst section in that whole.
Well, at least the fat lady didn't sing in the episode. I'm Mr. Ring-a-Ding. Here's a fat lady for you. She's not gonna sing because the show is fucked.
That's such a vaudeville piece of shit song, isn't it? Why did they need to get Alan Cumming too? I mean, don't get me wrong, his performance was good, but as Mr. Ring-a-Ding, but why did they need him? Why couldn't they? They could have got just about anybody to do that. Any American actor who can do a camp accent could pretty much have done that, and they wouldn't have had to pay him potentially millions of pounds.
Right.
It's bonkers. Oh well, whatever. It's done. It's dead, and it's not the only thing that's dying and dead. We'll get into the next thing in a second, but first of all, nobody came in for $2 and says face tracking on Ryan. I mean, yes, unfortunately, that is what's up at the moment.
Unfortunately, I carried this fucking show for 5 minutes.
But it's the meme, innit?
Yeah.
It's the kayfabe. I'm sorry, Ryan. But there you go. Yeah. Here it is.
I mean, it wasn't just you, Ryan. It was you and the camera. And the camera is like.
Camera was doing its share of the lifting too.
Yeah.
Respect for the camera.
Yeah. The camera's becoming your Hondo.
At least mine won't die.
Rip.
Ooh.
Oh man, that was savage. That was savage. Absolutely savage. What are you doing?
At least
fly high and sail free, Hondo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Anyway, face tracking on Ryan. It's a thing apparently, and that's really all I can say about it.
What was that, Mr. Nobody? What? Jay, what was that, Nobody?
I mean, he's pretty much taken complete ownership of that, so you're not getting a win by saying that.
Yeah.
What?
we suddenly turned into 90s WWE. Anyway, Thank you for the 2. Appreciate it. And St. Hugo for €10. Wow, hello. Thank you very much. Says, care for crossover Easter eggs later down the line? Sure as hell can't sell my game. Don't want to bring down those Nintendo ninjas on me, but can ref and add your project all I want. Why the hell not? Yeah, come and get involved. It's not like we're going to be doing something big. It's just going to be a bit of fun. And then if it goes well, then maybe we can talk about doing something proper. But for the beginning, just have a bit of fun, make something, play it, have a laugh, flog it on Steam and see if anyone's interested. And that's the plan anyway. So hopefully we'll get through it. It will take a long time, but we'll see. I guess it's too early to say anything right now, but of course, just crossovers, Easter eggs, all that stuff. Love that. Yeah. Let's do it.
Drop it.
All right. Yay, thank you.
Thank you to Laura for saying I sing well. I love all things 1930s. That's why I binge watched Cuphead, because it's like
including Germany.
It's a great 1930s animation, and we need more of that kind of entertainment and more of that kind of culture, folks. It's living proof that that kind of environment will be a breath of fresh air, especially considering what was recently seen on screen.
Well, then you probably have a great interest in, I think it's called Cartoon PI when it comes out. It's going to be an FPS game done with Tex Avery style animation.
Oh, cool. Tex Avery stuff. They hated him in the industry when he started out, but he became an icon. Yep. There it is. All right. And thank you. Dad of the fans came in and said nothing, just that he's a member for 5 months now. So thank you, Dad. and for showing us that you are all right down there as well. So thank you for that. Fanny's here for, I can never remember, Swedish 100.
Yeah, probably.
Says another fella male, I assume female, companion who's an annoying feminist who is saving the day while the doctor just stands by doing nothing because God forbid a woman can't be a feminine one. And that is exactly what is wrong with pretty much everything that we see these days. What are you laughing at, Ryan?
No, that's a good one, Fanny. Fella male, another word for demon.
That is actually, yeah, that's pretty good. A fella male. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just start calling them that. Maybe they'll adopt it. Who knows?
Drop it.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Okay, so it's not only Disney pulling out of Doctor Who that's felting that. Disney themselves are now absolutely crushed under the weight of Snow White's complete collapse. This movie still does not have $200 million at the box office globally. Yeah. Still not as good as the Marvels.
Yep.
Still. Absolutely.
Brie Larson is the happiest person from these developments.
She's vindicated. Yeah, she's had a redemption arc, and it's all Rachel Zegler now. Anyone who puts her in a movie would have to be among the dumbest people who've ever lived. Yeah. It fell down to number 10 on the weekend charts, by the way. Another 58% drop, and from 1,650 theaters remaining, so about a third of what they started with, they only brought in 1.2 million. It gets worse every week. I don't think it is actually possible for them to hit $200 million now.
I think a Snow White porno would make more money than this at this point.
I guarantee it has. The worldwide box office sits at $194 million, meaning given the rate of trajectory, it would take them a month worldwide to make it to 200. And I don't think it will be in theaters that long.
No.
I think they'll be sacking it off in the next couple of weeks. It's far below even the tiny expectations. Domestic box office, less than $100 million.
Yeah. I mean, they'd almost have to be paying the theaters to keep it in rotation at this point in time. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's like you can't do that because it's not making profits. So
it's been out for 4 weeks. It's had $84 million.
Yeah. They honestly would have made more money by just taking a tax break. And, you know,
as it turns out, they would have been better suited to just cancel it and take the tax break. You're right. Come on, numbers load.
Awful. An absolute awful state of affairs. And we've seen Marvel movies, we've seen Disney movies not do well, folks. Be it in the early phases or in recent years. This film is so bad, both from a visual standpoint and from a financial standpoint, that you're seeing it right now. It could stop the live action remake trend in its tracks because it just doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work at all. It's far below expectations. It's far below pretty much anything. It's not doing as well as the Marvels.
Yeah,
the Marvels
and below this headline, the Orange Man is taking on a gorilla.
And if you want some good advice, Disney, we've already given it to you a few times, but and it looks like you're actually kind of halfway there. Stop making live remakes of your old classics. Just
this is
update them, update the quality of the the cells that exist, and put them out again.
Yeah. The thing is, it's worth pointing. It's worth taking a second just to acknowledge that while we were right, or at least I was, Ryan thought Captain America wouldn't do as well, but it's fine. The result of this is so much worse than even we thought. I was thinking it might make like 300 mil, 350 maybe, so they can say it got its production budget back, even though they'd be lying.
Right.
Because the production budget was over $370 million or something.
I remember getting laughed at by fellow creators by predicting that the Marvels would only hit $200 million.
Yeah,
it
you
ended
did.
up hitting $208 million
Right.
ultimately. And I thought to myself, the same thing's going to happen with Brave New World. It didn't. It happened with Snow White instead, man.
Yeah.
Couldn't break
Yeah,
200
I said
million.
Snow White was fucked. I said Snow White was fucked. I didn't think it was going to. I think I said it might make 200 million, but I was thinking it probably realistically will make like 300, but it hasn't hit either of them. To be that bad is truly remarkable. I mean, we are undeniable at this point. The fans are undeniable. And now it's the headlines, and this is not the only one, saying, this is the New York Post, Snow White bombed so badly at the box office that Disney put another live-action princess remake on ice. It's Tangled, which is the Rapunzel one they were going to do. They're hitting the pause button on its planned live-action remake of the 2010 animated hit Tangled following the disastrous box office performance of Snow White. According to multiple reports published Thursday, Hollywood Reporter broke the news, Entertainment Weekly and Deadline confirmed. Tangled, a reimagining of the Brothers Grimm fairy tale Rapunzel, has been in active development with The Greatest Showman director Michael Gracie signed on to helm the film from a script by Jennifer Katin Robinson, who did Thor: Love and Thunder.
Oh, yeah. You mean One Cuck, Two Hammers?
Thor, Thud and Blunder. Yeah.
You mean Thor, which was a good movie until the Guardians left, that film?
Yeah. 20 minutes of a good movie and then the rest was trash.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So this is it now. According to Deadline, the movie was officially in pre-production and meetings with potential stars were already underway when Disney pulled the plug. Well, she would have been black, of course. The outlet also reported that Snow White, tanking at the box office, $270 million, has grossed $69 million. Well, it's more than that now. Led the House of Mouse to reevaluate plans for other planned live-action adaptations, borrowing on its animated IP library, which is the mission we have been trying to fulfill for, 7 years now? To tell them, enough is enough. Stop with these live-action remakes. They're fucking awful. They don't improve on the original, and by and large, they dilute the original with pure shit. So...
Looking back, Disney, in my view, should have taken the Valve approach, like a mix of Microsoft's approach to gaming and Valve's approach to gaming, which is buy up IPs and be a legacy holder and don't do anything and just ride off that legacy. I think they'd be in a far stronger position now compared to what they've actually done. And the only complaint we'd get in regards to Disney is, you're set in your ways, you don't do anything new, you ride off of either your own legacy or those that you bought and paid for. And that would be the only criticism of them.
But Ryan, they hired a whole bunch of meddling mid-manager girl bosses that are all, set to prove themselves. Damn all the consequences.
Yep.
So
and it's destroying them. Just like it's destroyed Doctor Who. It's literally now we're at the point where studios are feeling the heat, feeling the weight of wokeness collapsing them so completely that they are actually having to cancel projects. It's a good thing to put it in Hollywood terms.
Will, if you lost half of your market share value in 4 years, I think you'd be in a panic mode. Look at this multi-million empire I've built, and it's like in 4 years, oh shit.
Yeah. And considering a lot of that was done through inflation, it's like it's zombie properties based on zombie economies, and it's just let it die.
Black people that.
So from lifestyle.inc, as an inquirer, Disney hits the brakes on live-action remakes following Snow White's stinker. Wow. The media really has turned on Disney, haven't they? Apparently, yes, they're putting live-action remakes on hold. They're saying it affects Tangled. but it's also going to affect plenty of others. The upcoming Lilo and Stitch and Moana titles are going ahead, but according to some reports I've heard, I don't think it's in this article, but basically they had about 5 more planned, and ultimately none of them will be going ahead now. You guarantee that's not happening.
Remember when we were going to get a Star Wars movie every year? They were going to do a mainline, and then they were going to do a spin-off one, and this is that.
Yep. Well, it does seem now that we've reached the point where it's going to be the end of them, because historically production costs for Disney's animated titles have generally hovered beneath the 200 million line, with the exception of Wish and Tangled. Meanwhile, the live action counterparts have more commonly passed the $200 million mark, with The Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, Mufasa, Little Mermaid, Mulan, and most recently Snow White, all over 200 million. Oof. Probably way more than that, by the way. But anyway, it's not like these are bringing in more at the box office. So far, only 4 live action titles have grossed past $1 billion: Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, The Lion King, and Alice in Wonderland. On the contrary, films such as Zootopia, Frozen, Frozen 2, Incredibles 2, Inside Out 2, Toy Story 4, Toy Story 3, Finding Dory, and Moana 2 have all coasted past the $1 billion line.
They're almost all sequels.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I mean, Disney has the same issue as the games industry in that they are so risk averse now. They can only continue to pump out new ideas, old sequels. One second, and just give me 2 minutes. I gotta go.
Okay.
I know I keep doing it today, but
guys, John, Disney tried to innovate, folks, in-house. Well over 20 years ago for like a new generation of artists. They alienated them so much it caused DreamWorks to come into existence. If they hadn't have alienated the leading artists who ultimately went and developed DreamWorks Studios, then all of what you have seen from DreamWorks, likes of Shrek, the likes of Megamind, the likes of was Despicable Me no, I don't think that was DreamWorks, was it? No.
I can't say specifically.
Or Megamind, but yeah, Shrek, Kung Fu Panda, basically all the DreamWorks franchises would never have come into existence if not for Disney fucking up their new generation.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's that. There's getting rid of Brad Bird over at Pixar over the Me Too allegation bullshit, which was beyond laughable. I mean, what they did to him was more reprehensible to things they claimed. Like, he just is a jovial kind of guy, likes to give hugs. Everything I've ever seen of the guy seemed like he was pretty non-offensive. But it is what it is. I mean, this is being led by committee and thinking that I guess the TLDR is sheer hubris, right? Sheer fucking hubris.
Oh, yeah. Megamind was DreamWorks. I'm just having a look at the release timeline for DreamWorks games. Not games, movies, ladies and gentlemen. And this is such a vast lineup. DreamWorks has been under many owners throughout its history. Most recently, it's now under Universal. So that's one hell of a boon. But their first film was Ants. Then it was Prince of Egypt. Then it just goes down and down and down.
John Lasseter as well, as R2 saying in the chat. So yeah, all their people that actually had, legitimate talent, skills, and abilities have all been shunted for people that just know how to push familiar brands and labels. And it's diminishing returns until it gets to the point that there is no point of return.
Well, we were just making the point, Will, that Disney tried to focus on developing new franchises with a new generation of artists and animators, but fucked it up so badly in the 90s that it led to the creation of DreamWorks. They created their own vast litany of franchises. And they still have future projects. They're making 5 films this year. Of course, Shrek 5, which I think is next year. And they even have a film plan for 2027 that's confirmed as well. So DreamWorks, now under Universal, because they have gone through a few owners in the past, they were public at one time, are in a far healthier state than Disney. But Disney's new generation essentially made DreamWorks happen.
Yeah, I
because of
mean,
how they
this is
fucked it up.
Disney's been an industry-defining company for so long that their fuck-ups create other rival industries or competitors in the industry. And this is not the first time, nor the last time that we'll see that. And the funny thing is that they're fucking up so badly now, they're creating alternative entertainment. They have a hand, for example, in the rise of channels on YouTube.
Yeah. I mean,
That exists to criticize them, you know?
Yeah, Disney's problems are, they're over bloated in terms of the properties that they hold, but they're completely underdeveloped in the ways that they go about trying to maintain them. They don't have anybody there with enough talent, skill, and ability to even get their ideas out of the gate, because everything has to go through committee.
Yeah, Disney is an old man with too much to do and not enough energy to do it with. Plus, he's got dementia. You've got that kind of mindset. Of course, it's going to be destroyed in the end.
Oh yeah, they can't keep going like this. They really can't. So we may be seeing finally the end, or the slow whimpering end, of live action Disney.
Right.
And it really couldn't come soon enough. So that would be a really good thing to have by the end of the year. No more Disney live action remakes in the works, and no more Doctor Who.
Yeah.
That would be good. That would be great. And then people who defend these companies, like they could defend Doctor Who, they defend Disney, etc. They're like, why do you want these lovely things to die? I'm like, because they're not lovely anymore.
Yeah.
The old ones still exist. I can still engage with them if I want to.
They're doing it a disservice.
Yeah.
They're actively undermining that nostalgia that so many people seem to, want to have for it. Until it gets to the point that you're so apathetic that you can't even be asked to be pissed off at it anymore. The only thing you feel for is shame and embarrassment.
Yep. So Black Rapunzel is not happening. Hopefully. As T-Chap Steve points out, for $10, thank you to Steve, says Black Rapunzel, so instead of long rope hair, she has a giant fro that makes Marge Simpson jealous. Let down your hair. Her. Is you cray cray? I spent way too much on this weave to let it down.
I thought all black women wore wigs.
They do, yeah. Wigs and weaves.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. I saw a funny meme the other day. Actually, it was a leftist black cartoon character woman with like straight hair, going, "We're the most beautiful women in the world. We've got all the advantages over white women." Blah 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 blah. And then there's like a blonde white woman in the other panel going, "Nice wig."
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's from Noel the pen. Great.
Yeah, good stuff. And Steve, you're right. Yeah, because and that's the thing, of course. If they did cast a black lady as Rapunzel, A, would her hair be blonde? And B, would it be a wig? Would they actually just have it be a wig, a type of hair we know they don't naturally grow? So it would be completely unbelievable that Rapunzel.
She takes her wig off, pulls out a ladder, and says, "Get up here."
There it is. Yeah, it's a Mary Poppins wig. You just take it off, and there's like a magic bag of like a whole pocket.
And the prince is like, "How you do that?" And she says, "It's bigger on the inside." To make the Doctor Who.
I thought she'd say "Black Girl Magic."
Yeah, Black Girl Magic. What's that mean? And then she opens her legs. It's bigger on the inside.
That's right.
and then the prince gets sucked into the void, and the movie is trying to get out.
Fuck it. Just make it her pubes at this point.
Gandalf, what are you doing down there?
Oh, no. All right. Thank you very much, Steve. Appreciate you for the humor.
Drop it.
And speaking of humor, Ryan, would you like
with
to
unintended
introduce this?
consequences?
Because I haven't necessarily had time to watch the video entirely, though I understand you don't need to. I thought we
No.
were done with Sungrad Studios. I was done with Sungrad Studios. But what happened, Ryan?
Ladies
What
and gentlemen, Jarrell, or Kal-El's brown dad, as I like to call him, Jarrell himself, basically made a
Marlon
video
Brando.
about story time, about how Coyote surrounded him as all the
On one of his many
context is-
camping expeditions, I'm assuming.
It's like we were out hiking in like Mississippi or somewhere, and
Yeah, he's become quite the storyteller as of late, being exposed for like to the point where JT did a video on us, and it seems he's a compulsive liar.
I'm afraid I just kind of I saw that, and I'm tired of it now. Like I tried to defend him a bit, all right, and I stand by that because I still think that on some level the guy means well, but he is out of touch. He is wildly out of touch. He doesn't know what gamers are like. He doesn't seem to be able to allow himself to take an L either. So he repeatedly puts out videos like the one that I saw. Was it Harmful Opinions did a video on him where he was pointing out that he says, "Oh, I never say like and subscribe," and then cut to about 18 times that he said like and subscribe in various videos.
I'll make it clear right here, right now, Will, because this was a topic on reality-based Tangent Kings. I couldn't pronounce that during the end of the show, and that led to a meme. But essentially, folks, the topic was Sungrad Studios goes nuts as Coyote video gets roasted. In the comments, you can see the ratio there. Just scroll down, Will.
Yeah, 279 up, 199 down. Well, let's just hear like a few seconds of it just to get a vibe, a feel for the vibe of what he's going for.
Right. The arcades, the Denny's,
I just picked
all the
random
burger joints that we used to hang out at. Definitely Taco Bell. And as we leave those warm lights behind us,
It's
we
just
end
fucking
up
ice moving
driving
again, man.
farther and farther along the highway. And as we go eastward on 120, the road becomes bendier.
I don't know if he's.
And the sky gets darker, and suddenly there
It
are.
looks like he's reading from a high position screen, so that it looks like he's making it up. Because when you look up, usually to the right, I think is when you're being honest. When you look up to the left, you're like making something up.
Yeah, this is some creative storytelling right here.
Yeah, and it's bizarre. The story, I don't.
Occasionally would set out to Knight's Ferry, and we'd walk the length of the covered bridge in complete silence, complete darkness.
All right, get to the point.
It'd
mate.
already been about a 15 to 20 minute walk.
It's a
from
point, though, Will.
That's
the
where
point.
the parking lot was,
Man's going
and
nuts.
we had scrambled across some.
Yeah, he seems like he's having a mental breakdown or something.
At this point, and we think, holy shit, okay. And I already had my camera tucked away at that point. I had back.
He says he was a professional photographer in this or something, like a professional photojournalist. And it's like, how many fucking jobs has this guy done? Like,
how many cancer friends does he have? But in
I
all
know.
seriousness, Will, the funniest part about this isn't the
Is the
video
comments.
itself.
I know, yeah.
It's people's responses, man, because the people are so much more funny.
Yeah, of course.
Of
course they are, yeah.
realize.
I mean,
and the thing is that he claims, like, when I was a young man, I was working in retail. I was a hospital porter, pushing around dead bodies and carrying specimens around and pushing people to the wards and stuff like that. But that was like the most interesting job any one of my friends had. But then after that ended, and I ended up going to university and saying fuck that and coming back, all I did was work in like retail, and then liquor store, and then Blockbuster. This is like normal guy jobs. I didn't in my 20s have a job, raiding tombs with Nathan Drake, or being a freelance photojournalist in international waters. And he claims that he's done all these kinds of jobs in his life, but he doesn't look old enough to have done all those relatively prestigious jobs.
All right. Well, here's this is the interesting thing that we're learning from this is that a nice suit and a good speaking voice can only get you so far, because once people see through the veneer and there's no actual substance behind it, and it's just like you're just an empty suit, then it all starts to cave in on itself, and he's
Sunbrand,
a giant wall cow.
Just to illustrate your point before we get into the comments section, Adam Juman, member for 12 months, by the way, and thank you for that. Congrats.
That's hilarious.
Says he's the Pedro Pascal of YouTube. And TJAM Steve, member for 13 months. My goodness, wow. Says Coyotes, why was he crossing the southern border?
It's crazy because this guy's based in New South Wales in Australia, and the best he could come up with as an excuse is fucking coyotes. Really?
That's bizarre, isn't it? Anyway, so let's get into it then. As we go down, we've got a whole bunch of comments that are here. He says, have you ever had anything creepy like this happen to you? Let's have a look at some of the replies. Oh, God. Some people are taking it serious. Oh, no. Fuck all that noise. They're the people who are actually answering him seriously. Silver-sided Squirrel says, this week, Jarrell fought actual werewolves while playing a banjo and hanging out with PewDiePie and Pamela Anderson. They surrounded us with screwdrivers, but don't worry, we had chairs. But then
right.
You're gonna make them hate you more. Anyway, story is over. I'm a hero.
that video, that's the one that JT reviewed. Where, that was one of the first stories to get a second look, so to say.
That's a real story he told.
That is a real story that he told. He was in a store. And this person was basically spurging out, but he also has a background, in helping people with mental deficiencies, which he elaborated on in that story.
Did any of them have cancer?
And then possibly, but the point being is he was sitting here like trying to de-escalate because he's a master at de-escalation. He studied these things, you see, and then some chud came up.
That's why he's been so good at saving his face on his YouTube channel.
Right. Then some chud came and made the situation worse, and so he's more pissed off at that guy. And it's just,
for Christ's sakes,
it was quite the thing. It's been one weird, crazy revelation after the next. I laughed my ass off. At a certain point in time on Saturday, because of all the stuff that had been going on, I was like, I need a break from all this. What's JT covering here on this guy? And that you should go back.
Man, I went into this blind, folks, on Monday, and me and the Tangent King crew were just laughing our heads off at this, folks.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, he's claiming that he's been like a fucking photojournalist. He's worked in all these prestigious positions and done all these different jobs, and he's been a park ranger and an action movie hero, and he's raided tombs, and he's done all this stuff. And then one day he just decided to become a game developer, an independent game developer, making small, barely noticed, barely relevant, story-driven, simplistic little micro games for the Nintendo.
And it's weird because I've done a lot of weird, crazy shit throughout my life, but I'm 44, and
he doesn't look that old.
He doesn't. Yeah. And so, I don't know how he can have a more prolific life of misadventures and weird craziness than I've had in half the fucking time.
Yeah, it's a strange one. He's full of shit, of course, but the funny thing is funny here is you've got, and then the coyote spirit said, "You have really intelligent eyes." What is this? This is the best one. Someone's not interested in playing. It just goes, "What is this? What is wrong with you? You're so weird."
The coyotes died of cancer.
Forgive me, Iwata. Forgive me, Iwata.
Dude, you are a
That sounds like something he would say these days. Someone said they dropped their plate at that. They spat coffee out of their crappy Thanos mug. Yeah, it's a good one. Dude, you are
Dude.
a dev, a photographer, a spy, a superhero, a corporate trader, a drive-through attendant, courier, SEAL Team 6.
Right? Yep.
Oh my goodness. I was thinking during Tangent King, we are milking the cow here. If we can do this on Tangent Kings, then the guys over at Kino Casino, Warski and Triple P could absolutely felt this motherfucker.
I don't know why they don't. I don't know why they don't cover him and they don't cover Alyssa. I think
it's beyond it's beyond their purview because they come from blood sports where it is really a kill or be killed environment. I mean, folks, blood sports creators, it's a good thing. It's not a thing anymore. People were pulling guns on each other, fighting each other in Portugal, all sorts of strange shit, man.
I mean, as far as lolcows go, though, at least he's kind of like, sweet buttermilk as opposed to sour milk that is the country creature.
And then the coyote talked about Nintendo and Nintendo accessories.
Only I can help you. You need me to be your... Yeah, God. Some of his videos, just wow.
What's this? 10 years ago, I went to a school trip and one of the plane motors exploded. I removed the door, walked on the wing, and stopped the fires using a sleep blanket. Unfortunately, the wind was too strong and yanked me from it, but I used the same blanket as a parachute and landed on a motorcycle, stopping a fugitive from a bank robbery. What a way to celebrate my 9th birthday.
Oh, that's great.
They're really destroying him, aren't they? Oh, what's this? I actually had a similar experience several years ago. I went to lunch with some co-workers and we all ate greasy sandwiches. When we got back to work, we were all playing around seeing who could fart the loudest. I let one rip that really impressed everyone, but unfortunately I accidentally crapped my pants in the process, so I had to go home and change.
Oh, here's another one, folks. Save me some time. Did the coyotes give someone cancer, or did the coyotes die of cancer while you played music?
Fuck my life, man. I
Oh,
appreciate
God,
the comment
dude.
section as a place to relax after I get off work.
Folks,
Jay Viper as well. I had this happen with Velociraptors and a secret
I'm sorry to say that the last thing you want to
Jay.
hear before you die is someone playing the violin as you go over to the other side.
I almost wonder if he actually plays the
Whispering
violin
stories
now.
about being an international man of mystery the whole time as well. I think he's got into this whole Patch Adams style of helping people who are dying by telling them spun out, made up bullshit, and he's convinced himself it's actually all true. But now he's trying it with YouTubers who are very much alive and well and skeptical as fuck, and it's not working out.
Why has Steven Seagal decided to become a content creator?
I want him
Like,
to.
this is the thing: is like you're a globe-trotting photojournalist, hiker, adventurer, and now you're a game dev who makes YouTube content and get called a liar every day.
Right. He does volunteer work with
One of
cancer
these
patients.
things is not like the others.
Rebrand your channel, Sungran Jurel, or whatever the fuck your name is. Sungran Stories.
Yes,
Bullshit
Sungran.
artist extraordinaire.
I want to see him actually play
grandiose
the violin
stories.
now on one of his next outings.
He has played the violin before and the guitar on it. He's a post hippie. Come on, I mean he's a post hippie. He thinks that like life is for living outdoors, and yet he spends all his time indoors making video games. Apart from that, he doesn't seem to, because he puts out so many videos now. I don't know what his goal is here.
Will,
What is his-
Will, I'm not a content creator.
No, right? Creates content. You are such a liar, said someone. You provide absolutely no evidence of anything you say, and you think we should all just sit here and listen to your carefully crafted words. What? Trust me, bro, it happened.
Hey, man,
This is
that's
true. I was the coyote.
Oh my goodness. Maybe you should go
coyotes
work the CNN with a record like that. And then the
Jesus Christ.
coyotes clapped. Or got clapped, one of those.
Gave you $100 and clap.
Yeah, great story. Once I saw a coyote in the woods behind my house. I was like, hey, look, a coyote. The coyotes surrounded us that got cancer. Oh man. Oh no. This is a good one. When I was 10 years old, I got lost in the woods. I saw an ominous figure standing by a tree. It was pitch dark, and I could see a hairy figure just standing there. I was terrified and frozen. It was Bigfoot. It offered me a joint to smoke with him, and I breathed a sigh of relief. Question is my story better or yours, Jarrell?
Oh my goodness, man.
I surrounded you with red hats and exclaimed, "This is MAGA country."
But this is...
He's Jussie Smollett. He is.
This is
I do not
Sungrad
believe you.
story, man.
The great thing is, too, is he brought all the songs. He's like, I need to clean up my comment section. I want this to be a place of joy.
This is the most toxic comment section around.
They wanted me to say this on Tangent Kings, and I'll say it again. I had this happen to me once, except it was black people. Okay?
Oh my God.
Wow.
Oh, dude. Someone says, I had this happen to me once, except it was black people. Oh my God. Alex, I'll take $500 for things that didn't happen.
I could have spent all of Tangent Kings, right?
Just reading.
2 hours just going through this and having a fantastic time. That's
He's
how
telling
much
cringe fake
theory.
stories to purge his subscribers of bad apples. It's all a calculated move, you guys. He knows what he's doing, just like always. Oh, no. Come on, no. Is this channel just a meme now? LMAO.
Yeah.
God damn. Please get a close member of your family to watch your recent videos, then listen to what they say to you.
There was one comment in here. I don't know if you can find it. One comment that was talking about either you have serious mental health issues or you're lonely and you have serious mental health.
He needs to change the name of the channel to Grandstand Studios.
That's right. That's the joke. I was trying to get there myself, but I didn't. Well done.
No worries.
All right, no, that's the Nintendo bootlicking. Bro, you live in Australia. The scariest animal you could lie about is a coyote.
Yeah. Well
Are you a
said.
sociopath? There were no coyotes, just like there were no haters and negativity flooding all your videos before the crash out. Hey, dude, why are you always lying? Dude, please stop with the lies. Oh, man. A coyote was trying to stab someone at the market, but I disarmed it, tamed it, and we became a team. It died of cancer today because of your comments. I'm so disappointed in you. Oh man, you're right. I could go on like this all day.
Yep.
We have other things we got to get to, but yeah, unfortunately, Sungrad Studios is now forever a lol cow, and that is not a good place to be in. You do not want that.
What are you gonna do, Jarrell? Sue us?
There it is. Well, speaking of former lol cows who've now become public menaces and are suing people, we can pivot nicely there into the motion to dismiss letter for the Alyssa Mercante case. Now, we're not going to go over this too much, but here is a couple of bits that are amusing. The intro and outro, basically, is all you need.
Yep.
In this defamation case, all 5 counts are for defamation, regardless of how styled. Plaintiff, a New York resident, alleges that defendant, who lives and works in California, said a lot of things on the internet that offended her and made her lose her job. The complaint alleges that these comments have constituted bias-based harassment, tortious interference with contract, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and a new tort called stochastic terrorism. The gravamen of the complaint, however, is that the defendant called plaintiff a former sex worker and a whore, and that this constituted defamation. This is the best bit. Plaintiff's problem, however, is that she has, as shown below, repeatedly, publicly, and unapologetically described herself online as a former sex worker and a whore, and urged followers not to deem either of those occupations or epithets as demeaning or negative.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, well, this isn't a problem for how she lives her life and how she influences others. It is for her complaint of defamation. These self-descriptions are a problem indeed. I love the way Ron Coleman has written this. He's written it like he's just burying her. That's why I said we need to have some like art of Ron. I was going to call him the hammer, but the shovel is better. Coleman and just have him like as an old cowboy with a shovel or something. It just looks too
Ron
cool.
Coleman typed this out or Paul Heyman? Damn.
Right. So yeah, we go through it. There's a lot here. Of course, we go over the complaints again. Points out that the actual letter basically just is another piece of hard left-wing propaganda by calling everybody who criticizes Kotaku as right-wing in a lawsuit defamation claim.
Right.
Okay.
The funny thing is too is she referred to it like whore is one of her preferred pronouns. She put it on her bio as feminist/whore.
Yeah, she put.
You know? So I mean, that's what we're supposed to refer to her as.
She put like slut for the Rangers or something, like New York Rangers puck slut or something as well.
Yep.
Yeah. The complaint describes Mr. Taja's coverage of Mercante and her role in Gamergate 2 as harassment, which is not. She's a public figure. It's analysis and criticism of a public figure's meltdowns, alleging that he made false statements about her personal life, repeatedly invoked her name and image without consent, and called for his followers to target her with their own online opprobrium. Unfortunately, this is not what happened. Smash JT is a guy like us. He 100% just covered the stories and said, what is this crazy woman doing? She's insane. She's pushing an agenda, blah, blah, blah. She seems to be very proud of herself, calling herself a sex worker, just like everybody else did. And we all know why she went after him. Go on.
He was the most moderate. He was the most tasteful.
Much nicer.
He was targeted. He was, and even much less than I was. And he was targeted because he apologized, and he resonated with the most people as it was a topic of the day. Me, personally, I cosplayed as one of her aborted children, not so much as a reference. She doxes Atreus and doesn't even put his channel in the fucking lawsuit up.
Right.
Just doxes him.
And think about all the things that I've said to her, like an actual conversation, and I'm not mentioning the document. But Toasty is. But she can't really dox me because I'm John Richards. Like everybody knows that at this point.
Not dox me. My name is Ryan Rogerathe. I'm 25 years old. I'm based in the South Wales Valleys within the United Kingdom. And I lost my voice when I was 7 because I took on a bully and he landed on my neck. So I had to retrain my voice. That's why I don't sound Welsh.
I'm Will. I'm from Bedfordshire, but currently I live in the Visayan Islands in the Philippines, and my address would be incomprehensible, so there's no point. James Ott for $2. Check DM my grok experiment. All right, thank you. Let's have a look. What you got for me? What'd you bring me? Conclusion: with the image evidence of Alyssa Mercante's X profile identifying her as a feminist whore, Taja is the overwhelmingly likely winner at the motion to dismiss stage, with a 90 to 95% probability of securing dismissal of the complaint. I did something like this with Grok as well, but yours is like more certain even than mine was. The image strongly supports his libel-proof defense, negating Mercante's defamation claim, and indirectly weakens her other claims by framing her as a provocative figure whose own statements invited controversy. Hello, Alyssa. Dismissal under rules 12b2 and or 12b6 is highly probable. Yeah, these are the citations that he includes in the letter. Various precedents as well, where they have been employed in similar situations, and all of them, they come out supporting Smash JT. And Taja is likely to receive attorney's fees under NYCRL. What's that symbol mean? Section or something 70-A. Mercante's chances of survival are minimal.
I think it might be
target acquired.
Ultimate felt. Just all right. That's it then.
Mercante identified.
Oh God, don't! With all the pictures that she posts on her socials, it'd be really easy to figure out where she goes. Anyway, resting on narrow jurisdictional or factual disputes that the image renders unlikely to succeed. There you go. Absolutely felted. It is what it is. Yeah, I'm gonna try and find where is the bit about libel proof, because that is interesting. 1 second. There we go. found it. It says, here's the context, of course, plaintiff's own reputation with respect to chastity, and considering the above, plaintiff cannot claim to have been defamed by being accused of unchastity. Plaintiff has rendered herself libel-proof with respect to chastity through her own voluntary public descriptions of herself and her moral standards.
Yeah.
Showed her ass in public.
She routinely does that.
Yeah, she can't go into a bathroom without taking a photo of herself, it seems.
Yeah, she showed almost every bit of her on the internet.
Why do women do that? Why do women take photos of
Because she saw herself in the mirror and she thought everybody else needed to see it too.
I don't know. I don't know why women do that.
She's a narcissist.
I genuinely don't know why. Anyway, a libel-proof plaintiff, as is defined and with precedent, is one who's barred from asserting a claim for defamation because his reputation with respect to a specific subject may already be so badly tarnished it cannot be further injured by allegedly false statements on the subject. And there is a
that's like me accusing a creator of committing libel to me because of alleged controversies.
It's like if you were being covered. If you were being covered by Kino Casino and he was like, he's bald, and you're like, that's defamation.
Right.
You know,
when we were covering this the other day, I was like, it's like someone called me a motherfucker, and I'd just be like, well, yeah,
I have done that.
I have done that, and have I peddled porn? Yeah, I've done that too. Am I a dildo salesman by trade for a number of years? Exactly. So like, say whatever you want. I just have to deal with it.
You should have called your YouTube channel the Dildo Salesman.
Dildo Salesman. There's always time. There's always time.
Or the Pussy
Diaries.
Or something like that. Guccione vs. Hustler Mag. That happened in 86, 87? I don't know.
86 to 87.
Right. It was libel-proof as to adultery because widely published articles were probative of the plaintiff's notoriety for adultery. So, yeah, you can't defame someone when they themselves are known for the thing that you are calling them. And they themselves have participated in the spreading of that information. Yeah. It's completely insane. They then move on, of course, to anti-slap. But then there's other things in here as well, like where she refers to herself as... she, her, views mine, puck slut for New York Rangers. Feminist whore.
Yeah.
In her bio. You can't see it. I'm not blowing it up. But there are, of course, several screenshots here. And the thing that made me really impressed with this was how little they actually need. I have about 300 times this many images saved in a folder for just such an occasion. And with about 3 or 4 or 5, he just goes, yep, here we go. Like this one, I'm just going to get back to sex work there because at least when I get fucked, I'll get paid well for it. He has to actually analyze this and say, I'm just going to go back to blah, blah, blah. It appears the plaintiff is suggesting that for some reason she believes she's getting fucked, i.e. abused or taken advantage of, playing on the dual meaning of the phrase. Plaintiff, actually having to write in like analytical legal terminology, a definition of what is happening is hilarious to me. Plaintiff makes it clear go on.
I was just going to say, when I was studying law for 6 years, from the age of 13 to 19, okay, it wasn't quite, as graphic as how it's portrayed here, but you had to make legal arguments based on, interpreting what was said, seeing the legality and the illegality of it, and then dividing the two. And that's exactly what you're seeing here, although this is from a civil standpoint. My speciality was always criminal.
Right. Yeah. Well, he says, by playing on the dual meaning of the phrase getting fucked, plaintiff makes it clear that she is not a sex worker at present, but merely the victim of some kind of abuse. She makes this point, however, and I just love it, by stating that she may as well go back to sex work and at least get paid well for it. The premise of the post, therefore, is that plaintiff was formerly a sex worker, a claim that was not necessary to make the play on words. Plaintiff could, I've said this a million times, could have easily just said, or just as easily have said, I'm just going to go into sex work because at least when I get fucked a lot, I'll get paid well for it. Yeah. It's hard to imagine any reason plaintiff would have chosen to write about going back to sex work if she did not mean it was something she had done before. And in another post, she answers the question of how she got into the game industry by stating that she sucked dick, exchanged sex for economic benefit. Go on.
As the Chinese would say, "Shuda hao." Very good. Very good, Rob.
Plaintiff brags about having worked as a cam girl and implies that from her point of view, this is the sort of sex work appropriate for celebration on International Whores Day. It is reasonable to read the post in figure 4 below as a statement that plaintiff considers herself a member of the international fraternity she was celebrating.
Yeah, sex work is work. She's got it right there.
Sisterhood of Whores.
So now I do know the day for International Burning Witches Day. It's
There it
June
is.
the 2nd.
So it goes back into explaining how these are doomed under 12B2 and 12B6, but and onward from there for quite a ways as she attempts to say that she was targeted by Smash JT for her sexual orientation and gender presentation, which is of course bollocks. But it gets really bad when you get into the fact that this action qualifies as an action involving public petition and participation because it is exercise of the constitutional right of free speech in connection with any issue of public interest under New York's anti-SLAPP law. Defendant therefore is entitled to the defendant, Smash JT, is entitled to an award of attorney's fees, which is mandatory under the statute. Costs and attorney's fees shall be recovered upon a demonstration that an action involving public participation petition and participation was commenced or continued without a substantial basis in fact or law. So, anti-SLAPP, fucking loads of reasons. He even says at one point, earlier on in the letter, for any of these reasons or any combination of them, this must be dismissed, and ends by saying, for all the foregoing reasons, the complaint against Jeff Tarja should be dismissed with prejudice.
Indeed.
Hey, Ron,
Smackdown.
Ron, W fees. That's what we call salt in the wound. W fees.
Yep. I mean, this is glorious. I think this is probably the letter I've been waiting to see since this all began.
Yeah.
Like an actual motion to prove like she's full of shit and she's guilty of most of the things she's accusing JT of in the first place. Ron Coleman is a god of this kind of stuff. It's hilarious. Just imagine, like, you imagine how it would have gone for Black Girl Gamers when they went after that Park place.
Right.
They didn't even come to this. It's only because of the dogged determination of Mercante to destroy her life that we're even reading this. The judge was like,
her willful ignorance is astounding.
Absolutely. James up for 2. Coleman the Barbarian. Fuck yeah. That's really good. That's great. That is really good.
I look forward to the aftermath of all this, where Mercante will have to do live streams and get donations to pay for Smash's legal fees.
Well, this is what we're looking at.
Funny.
I mean, imagine that.
Mm-hmm.
She has to do like a GoFundMe or something to pay his legal fees.
So Ron, double your fees to Smash. I know he won't like it in the short term, but in the long term, he will.
It's just hilarious. Anyway, there you go. So that's where we're looking. Yep. It's toast. It's absolutely toasted. As James Opp's grok powered summary says, it's 90 to 95% likely that this will now be dismissed because it's absurd. I mean, I think they get to write another response to it.
Yeah, but I mean, the demand for a jury trial on top of all this stuff is like how much taxpayer money and resources and time.
From a British perspective, trying to get a jury trial for a civil case is seen as odd. Never mind a lawsuit.
Right.
In the UK, at least, that's considered batshit crazy.
Right. I think it's the only possible way that they could actually ever get a win is to have a bunch of hopefully, Democrat voting New Yorkers sitting there to get outraged at everything.
Right. Let's own the chuds, everybody, and make the girl our mascot. We're gonna get her a win.
I don't fully understand U.S. law, but if you guys have jury trials for lawsuits, damn. That's all I'll say in that regard. Just
It's pretty unfounded for, you know.
Yeah, there it is. Now, guys, we were going to do our WrestleMania results reaction and stuff like that, but unfortunately we are at time now. Everyone wants to go watch the Oblivion stream. I don't blame them. I'll be watching it too. So we'll wrap it up and we'll do a little segment on WrestleMania on Thursday. Including the Real After Mania, which I saw earlier on and was really cool. A lot of interesting shit went down. Particularly the Seth Rollins Braun Breaker.
The end section.
I found that to be very interesting. Because I'd like to see another Rollins run stable.
Yeah.
You know, that would be pretty cool with Heyman. Even if it's just the Paul Heyman guys, you know, that would be pretty good, especially if they go against Punk. And fuck him up and fuck Roman Reigns up and stuff. You could go along with that for several months until eventually someone takes him out at Survivor Series. Or you could keep him going for years. I don't know. I think it's a good idea to put Braun Breaker with Seth Rollins because he can learn to talk.
Yeah.
There you go. That's my thoughts on that. We'll move on then. Let's get to our outros, guys, starting with John. What's going on with you?
Let's see. Immediately, probably going to run over to the grocery store right after this, and then I'm going to get some sleep so I can wake up and do a stream with Toasty today. And then tomorrow will be my day off, so that'll be nice. And so I will be back here again with you guys for White Time Friends on Thursday morning. At which point in time we'll have more time to actually talk about where I am all the other times of the week, because I'm everywhere all the time, and it only seems like people are wanting me on their channels even more, which is, I guess I'm doing something right. So yeah, with that said, safe travels ahead. Of a wonderful week going forward, and be awesome as always.
Beautiful. Thank you, Ryan.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much for watching the 108th episode of White Time Friends. It's always a pleasure to be on this show. I'll be releasing a video in just under I'll be releasing a video in a quarter of an hour's time in regards to the Assassin's Creed Shadows deliberate sales leak, which I found to be very, very suspicious. And I'll be releasing a few more videos for today. Just hit 3,440 subscribers. We've been on a roll in terms of support recently after the channel warning came down. So like, share, subscribe to myself, to Will, to John. Hopefully links are in the description down below, as well as in the chat. And it's always a pleasure to be here. I appreciate everyone's support.
Yep. Okay. The Bethesda stream has started, so if you want to pour out, I understand. But thank you very much, everybody, for your kind consideration and donations and well-wishing for my dad, and especially James Up, Dramatic Law, Furious Dan, Nobody, St. Hugo, Dad of the Fans himself, apparently, Fanny T-Jap Steve, Adam Juman, T-Jap Steve again, James Up, and James Up again. Thank you very much, guys. I will leave you with the credits, and I'll be doing, all being well, assuming there is nothing terrible going on, I'll be live in 8 hours' time for Hyperdrive. Okay, and we'll go into the Mercante thing a bit more, and the Oblivion thing. So, catch you then. See you later. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.